So as you may know, I got solar about a year ago, and after having a discussion with a couple of different people on how that's been going, I decided I'd just go ahead and put together a little video kind of overviewing how it's been for this first year of having solar. So I kind of just assemble it all together and go over the numbers on how much solar production we made and how that came out to be for savings and everything this year. So go ahead and take a look if you're interested in seeing how we did with our solar system this first year. Let me know if you have any questions about anything like that. But here's just kind of a breakdown of what it's been for us for this last year. Let me know what you think. So my system was a 12 panel system that has a total size of 4.9 kilowatts. As you can see here, the total price on it was $15,655. It's total price installed and everything. And then you had the 30% federal tax credit, which was the $4,696. And then the production incentives, that's from my local electrical company, Dakota Electric. They give a rebate for all of the energy that you produce over the first 5 years of having the solar panels installed. And they do that at a rate of 8 cents a kilowatt that they credit onto your bill on a monthly basis as you're producing that electricity over the first 5 years. So the total cost that the system would be based on these estimates would be $8,473. The utility incentive from Dakota Electric is given back to me over time. So my true out-of-pocket cost after the 30% tax credit, which comes back to you relatively quickly compared to that Dakota Electric one. So the out-of-pocket thing would be that $10,958. So I'm going to use that as my analysis point when I calculate later on the return on the investment on this and whether that's worth it or not in the long run. So just keep that in mind. The $10,958 is my basis for out-of-pocket expense on this solar panel production system. So here I have outlined my electrical use from the second half of 2018 when we bought the house, and then all the way through 2019. And then the yellow bars show the production of the electrical production that I had during the course of 2019. So you can see, obviously it's going to be a lot more in the summer there with the sun up higher in the sky, more direct sunlight getting on those panels. Produces way more electricity, obviously, so you get a lot more production then. Our utility company does net metering, so every kilowatt that I put into the electrical grid, I get credit for it on the bill based on the current rate for each kilowatt hour at the time that it's put into the system. And then I get charged for any kilowatts, and then I get charged for any electricity that I pull in off of the power grid at that same rate. So it comes out to be a wash month by month. We do have a higher rate in the summer than we do in the winter. It's 13 cents a kilowatt hour in the summer, and that's like 11.6 cents in the winter months. So that does play a little difference on what my actual numbers are, because I just took a flat 12 cent a kilowatt hour cost when I calculated these numbers for analysis here today, but very slightly by about 20 bucks or so from what the actual numbers were. So that's close enough in my book. So we're going to use these numbers I put together here today. So here's the tracking from the Solar Edge system that we have that tracks all of our production from our solar panels. Here it just shows overlays 2019 and 2020, and then it shows how many kilowatt hours were produced for each month. And that's kind of nice to be able to go back and compare different years to each other. So that'll be good in the future as I get more data in there and can compare years on which ones are off. So that's a nice feature to be able to access. You can look at the daily breakdown, so you can look at each day and how much is produced, and then what time it starts to produce, and then what time it wanes off at the end of the day. And then you can also look at week, month, billing period, year, quarter, things like that. So it's really awesome to kind of have some of the information to go in and nerd out on data on the solar panels that we had. So that was kind of fun. So the overall usage of electricity that we used throughout the entire year for our house was 7,984 kilowatt hours. And then we produced from our panels 4,360 kilowatt hours. So we produced 55% of our electricity usage from our solar panels. That comes in a little bit under what was estimated by the Minnesota Solar, the company that installed our panels. They estimated that our system would do 59% of our usage, but that was also based on using 11,000 kilowatt hours instead of the 7,900. So what we actually produced was 4,300 kilowatt hours, and their estimate for our system was going to be 6,500. So we only produced about 60% or so of what they estimated we would, which was kind of low. I don't know if that's just because of the weather being different this year than is typical. We'll have to see what that does over time, or if their numbers were just off. So based on that 7,900 that we used, and then the 4,360 we produced over the year, that means we had to buy 3,624 kilowatt hours from Dakota Electric. So you can see I broke it down there based on that 12 cents a kilowatt hour. Our total electrical bill would have been $958. But since we produced $523 worth of electricity, we only had to pay the $434. So that's pretty awesome. And then we have the rebate from the utility company of that 8 cents a kilowatt hour for each one we produced. So that creates that $348 that they credited back onto our bill as well. So you take that solar panel production and the rebate from the electric company, and that means we saved ourselves $872 from going to electric. So that means that we saved ourselves $872 this year to not have to send that money into Dakota Electric, and instead is used to recoup the expense of those panels. So you can see that's that's about an 8% return on investment. Here's kind of the breakdown on how they do that net metering. You can see the energy total is 502 kilowatt hours. So this bill we used 502 kilowatts, and then down below there it says solar production of 545. So it says we made 545 kilowatt hours. But you can see here the in that middle section there where it says 279. That's the net difference. That's ultimately what we're going to end up getting billed for. Because you can see received is they received the 223 kilowatt hours that were put back into the electrical grid over the course of that month. So the net goes against the 502 that we pulled off. So for the net difference of 200, we drew in 279 kilowatt hours more than we put into the system. So you see down below there, that's what we're going to be billed at, is at 279 at 13 cents. And then they have the tax on that as well. And then we get a discount for having the cycle air for our air conditioner. They have it where it runs for 15 minutes and it's off for 15 minutes. It helps reduce the peaks that they have. So they give credit for that for us for signing up for that program during the summer months. And then the solar production energy charge is that rebate from the electric company. So you see we have a credit this month. We had a credit of $10.55. There was some tax that needed to come out of that too, but I believe our ultimate credit for that month was $9.66. So basically, as we were rolling through the year, we got to about May or June, and we started to get those credits into our account. So that means we didn't have to pay. Obviously, we were being credited more than our bill was worth. So we built up a credit over the summer months. which then after the production on the panels started to decrease come fall and winter, we started to be able to use those credits for our electricity that was being used during those times. So it just offsets the bill at a later date. So basically, we haven't paid anything to the electric company since, I want to say, May or June. And then we haven't paid anything all the way through December. And we should be getting our January bill any day now. So we may have to pay a few bucks on that one. But we've gone a good 6 months without having to have an electric bill at all. And that's during the months when the electric bill is the highest of the summer. So a lot of that AC use and everything. So I feel that's a pretty good investment. Obviously, some of that's just because of the rebate, which is only for the first 5 years that that's going to be on there. So after that falls off, I don't think it'll go nearly as long without having an electric bill. But I think it's definitely still worth it. It's a great, like I said before, 8% return on investment. If you look at the breakdown from the Minnesota Solar, the company that installed the panels and everything, they got that system cost of $15,655. They've got that system cost of $15,655 there, and then they break down the kilowatt hours that is expected to produce in a year, and then the value that would be based on the current rate, and then they have that federal credit, and then the estimated amount that would be earned from the Dakota Electric incentive as well. And then they have that running balance on the side of how much that system's costing us and then how much of it. So when that gets down to zero, that's when we've made back that $15,655 from the system. And then from that point forward, any other money we have coming in is just returning on that investment and help growing our savings over time. Just eliminating our electrical use and minimizing what we have to pay the electric company from that point going forward. So they have this break based on a 30-year breakdown. That's what they expect the panels to last. I've heard people talk about the inverters not lasting that long, and that they only last more like 15 years, and then you have to replace those. So that's not factored into here, but based on the Minnesota Solar's breakdown, you see we should, during the 8th year there, get to that break-even point where we've recouped all of our expense into the system, and everything after that is just money we're making then. So I think that's a worthy timeline on it. Like I said, that comes out to be somewhere around about 8%, and I think that's a great investment for just about anything out there. If you could get 8% almost guaranteed, the only thing I can think on why you wouldn't is if we had some drastic changes in weather or major catastrophic failure on these panels, but they are warranted for, I think, 10 or 15 years. So if anything were to happen during that time frame, obviously that's covered under that warranty then. But at that point, they should be making money. So even after 15 years, if we had to replace them, obviously it's not as great of a return on money then, but it's still worth what we spent on them. So let me know what you guys think. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about people and having solar panels.